the bucket list, the backlog, the TBR list, whatever you want to call it, it's something a gamer can relate to. A never-ending pile of games you have yet to complete or even play. And that list of games just gets bigger and bigger. The market just gets bigger and bigger. The power gets bigger and bigger. It's the worst feeling ever. However, I kind of wanted to condense a couple of game franchises and titles that I have yet to experience and play. Ever since I was like a little kid, these are 10 games that I want to say are musts that I need to play within the next year or two because they've just been on my backlog list way too long. So without further ado, let's just get into it. First game is already going to be like, what is Red Dead Redemption 2, the PS4/Xbox One? Yeah, I know, shoot me. I don't know why I haven't played this yet. Technically, I played the first hour and that is it. The word of mouth for this game, especially when I think I must have been in secondary school at the time, was like everyone said this is the best game they've ever played. When I go online, when I talk to people in person, people say this is their top 10 games of all time. It's a game that you need to play before you die. Thankfully, I've avoided a lot of spoilers in general with the story of this game, but I'm very aware of like Arthur Morgan as a character is like one of the best written characters, if not the best written protagonist in any game, period. I've been told that this is the best Rockstar story that they've made, which man, I need to play this so badly. I've taken a very long time not to play this just because one, life stuff, it happens with everyone. And two, I've been very put off from open world games in general when it comes to, especially like in the late 2010s era, every game became an open world game. I don't know, like let me know. Again, this is Rockstar, so I shouldn't doubt these guys. I know I'm going to be lost in it, the story. And surprisingly enough, this game came around the same time where I was studying American history as well. So I'm surprised that didn't really give me the push to play Red Dead 2. But regardless, I'll get to it as soon as possible. I think it's about 50 hours, so maybe during the summertime. I know you guys will be rolling your eyes and like shaking your heads. The fact that I haven't played this game, I know. Put your forks down. But yeah, that's definitely in my bucket list. Okay, the next game or slash series that's in my bucket list of games to play is not really popular in the West, I must say. It still has a big fan base and a cult fan base. However, it's a lot more bigger in Japan than it is like in the UK or the Americas or Europe. And that's the Dragon Quest series. This is Dragon Quest 8. It's only in recent years where I've literally fallen in love with JRPGs, especially as a genre. When it comes to its storytelling, when it comes to the game mechanics, I've really fallen in love with it. Especially with Akira Toriyama style. Like, come on, this is legit Akira Toriyama, like Dragon Ball Z, but like in a fantasy aesthetic with like turn-based RPG elements. Why haven't I played this yet? I don't know. Been told Dragon Quest 8 is one of the best games in the series. Also Dragon Quest 3 on the SNES. There was also a Pixel remaster that came out recently as well, which I really want to play. That's on the list as well with this franchise. And Dragon Quest 11 as well, from I think that's the latest release for modern consoles, which I want to play as well. I don't know much about like the Dragon Quest lore in general, but it's definitely what I want to get into. And the first game I'm going to play is with 8. I've been told that Dragon Quest is more like a cozy, casual experience compared to like other JRPGs like Final Fantasy, where like it really pushes the boundaries of the genre. Yeah, so I think Dragon Quest is that kind of thing where like if I just want to chill, relax, escape into a fantasy world and not stress, this is the franchise to go to. Again, it's Akira Toriyama, like come on, like yeah, this art style is beautiful. As someone who's like a big fan of watching anime, manga, I'm a big fan of stuff like Hunter x Hunter and One Piece and Dragon Ball Z. Those writers, those authors have had like in many instances like come out and said that Dragon Quest was a big inspiration for them, for their own stories. And you do see a lot of RPG elements in those stories like One Piece and Hunter x Hunter. And there's even like a photo of Yoshihiro Togashi, the creator of Hunter x Hunter and Yu Yu Hakusho, like playing Dragon Quest in his living room, which is pretty cool. So yeah. Continuing the trend of JRPGs, another series that I want to get into is, and surprisingly it's not even that like popular anymore with Nintendo, is the Earthbound series on the SNES. Now, I'm sure for like many of you guys, when you think of Earthbound, you think of Ness from Super Smash Bros. That was my introduction as well. Ness and Lucas from Brawl, but Ness mainly from Smash Bros. Melee. He's a character that can perform like magical abilities in the game. Besides that, I knew nothing about him until I found out, yeah, he's based off a JRPG title called Earthbound. And even to this day, I don't know much about the Earthbound series in general. I know the first game was released in like the West, but the rest wasn't. And to this day, they haven't released the rest of the sequels in the UK and the US, which is kind of surprising because Nintendo love making money. So it's kind of like a dead franchise at this point. From what I've seen, and I think this is the best comparison I can make from what I've seen, is that it's kind of like it's in that vibe of like the Goonies, Stranger Things. If you watch the cartoons like Gravity Falls, or even like the modern like Scooby-Doo Mystery Inc. series, where it's like this mystery, it's set in America, it's a JRPG set in an American town, where you follow a bunch of kids, a group of kids. There's like an alien invasion, and like you have to solve the mysteries, time travel, and save the world. It's very sci-fi, fantasy-esque inspired. This is totally my vibe, I can't lie. And that's my take on it. I'm down. I really want to dive into more of like the SNES era of games in general, which I've played a few games, but like not to that extent, especially the JRPG side of things with that console. Yeah. Earthbound. Okay, next up in my bucket list is number 4, and that goes to Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots for the PlayStation 3. I've played a lot of consoles and games in my time. However, the PS3, the PlayStation 3 was the only console that I never owned. I never played that much. Only when like I went to friends, when friends came over, or when relatives came over. MGS4, Guns of the Patriots was the one game that I never played. As a Metal Gear Solid fan, as someone who's replaying, marathoning the games right now, actually, I'm playing Metal Gear Solid 3 right now on the PS2 as I edit this video. I never played MGS4, which is so like... It's so gut-wrenching, man. Like, I love these games, I love this franchise, but like the fact that it's an exclusive PS3 game, it is what it is. MGS4 is the you could say the end game, the climax of Hideo Kojima's like Metal Gear saga in the canon. Accumulation of everything that's happened from all the previous games before it. It's kind of like all the characters are here now, we're going to throw them together and we're going to stop the Patriots. The Patriots are basically like this Illuminati shadow government that have been running the world for ages. Under everyone's noses, they pretty much planned everything, like all the events of MGS1, MGS2, MGS3, and the events before that as well. Everything was planned by the Patriots. I know Ocelot's like the big boss, not the big boss, no pun intended. I know Ocelot's the big bad, kind of like the head of the Patriots. From what I know, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but you play as Snake. He's an older man. I think he's aged a lot more due to his, like him being a clone, and you're pretty much there to stop Ocelot and the Patriots. And I think this is the first time where we actually get like an interaction between Big Boss and Solid Snake, which is going to be very cool. I can't wait to play it. I'm loving this Metal Gear marathon that I'm going through right now, so I cannot wait. Also, it's kind of like the end game of the MGS series, so like everyone's together. Meryl's back, Snake's back, Ottocon's back, Colonel Campbell's back, the entire cast from the first game and the second game, and even the third game as well. They're all together, which is pretty cool, so I can't wait. Now, we mentioned a couple of JRPGs, Eastern RPGs, in this list. I want to mention a Western RPG. I'm a big fan of Fallout. I love Fallout 4. That was the game that introduced me to the series. Then I went back to play Fallout 3. One of the best experiences ever. And then I heard about something, I think a friend told me in school to play Fallout New Vegas, and it turns out apparently it's the best in the series. I've never actually played this game, Fallout New Vegas. I always assumed it was like an expansion / like DLC for Fallout 3, but no, this turns out to be its own game, its own narrative, its own story. It takes a lot of elements from Fallout 3 and mechanics and like polishes up and adds new stuff in. So yeah, this is basically a completely like a fully fledged game. I can't lie. I never experienced it. I'm so annoyed as a Fallout fan. Everyone that I come up to and that I talk to and they talk about Fallout is that I always say, yeah, Fallout 3 and 4 is my favorite. I'm not even joking. At least 4 people that I've spoken to, like IRL, say Fallout New Vegas is the best in the series. God damn it, I haven't played this yet. But from what I know, it's like a revenge story. It's not a typical, like, I have to find my son or find my father or find my parents. Yeah, this is a revenge story set in Vegas. So yeah, retrofuturism with Vegas aesthetics, with Fallout gameplay and mechanics. You can't go wrong. So yeah, hopefully sometime this year. Okay, the next up in my bucket list is Resident Evil 2, the OG. I'm going to also include the remakes as well. As someone who sees themselves as an aspiring writer, storyteller, illustrator, the horror genre is one genre that I've barely touched in my life. I know. It never appealed to me. I never liked it. I don't like being scared and tense during my storytelling experiences when I'm playing a game or watching a movie. However, I want to broaden my horizons, and I thought, hey, why not? Let me get into Resident Evil. I played RE1 recently, okay game, but again, from what I've been told, Resident Evil 2 is where it pretty much finds its footing in the survival horror genre itself. I guess I'll do a quick review of my experience in the first game. RE1's a solid game. As a first in the survival horror genre, I think RE1 did a good job as an introduction, as a starter, as a taster to the genre that we see when it comes to modern survival horror games that we see in like Last of Us and Dead Space and Silent Hill and other horror games, which I've yet to play most of them, to be fair. But RE2, I don't know, man, just seems like a vibe. I can't lie. From seeing gameplay of this game and the remakes with the 2 dual perspectives of Leon, and I think it's what's her face, man, that comes back. Jill? Oh no, it's Claire Redfield, yes. I think Jill's in the third game. All I know is that it takes place in Raccoon City. You gotta survive the RPD police station against zombies and ghouls and so on. This game, I don't like horror. I don't like being tense, but you get that rush and exhilaration once like you beat a boss, once you survive like a certain like zombie horde. RE2 definitely there, and also throw in RE3, RE4, RE5, and the remix as well. This is basically I'll probably say this is the full franchise in general, but specifically if I had to pick one game, it would definitely be RE2 just because it's where everything kind of started. It's where the genre found its footing with RE2. Yeah. Oh, okay. Next up on the list is a game that I love Platinum. I love Platinum games. I love Bayonetta. I love Beautiful Joe. No, that's Capcom. I love the Transformers Devastation game. I love that kind of combat Platinum make. They are, I think they're probably the best in terms of like combat mechanics and gameplay. They're the best in the business right now. I can't lie. I feel so sad, man. All these games I haven't played yet. Another big game that I have yet to play is Nier Automata or Nier Automata. I don't know how to pronounce it. Just like the previous games I mentioned, 10/10 game, one of the best games of all time. I think again this is like Platinum's magnum opus. This apparently, if they would have went bust if this game did not succeed, and it turns out it succeeded with flying colors, winning multiple game awards. Again, from what I know, I don't know much about it. You play as like this really like cool looking like I don't even know what they are. Like you have like this blind chick and this blind dude as well. Like they're like samurai. It seems like it's set like in a sci-fi dystopian cyberpunk future. But it seems cool. The combat seems sick from what I know. And again, the word of mouth of this game is amazing. Everyone that I've come across says this game's a must play. So yeah, Nier Automata. So I recently got the Legend of Zelda Arts and Artifacts art book recently, and I've been skimming through it, flipping through it, and look at that artwork, man, look at all that hand. These look like animation cells, but I can't even tell like if this is hand drawn or digitally painted, but bro, this looks stupid lighting, man. This looks beautiful. Like, wow. And ever since then, I really wanted to go back and play some of like the older Zelda games, like experience that like that time where Zelda was like a top-down adventure game. From my bucket list, I want to play Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. First of all, this game looks beautiful from what I've seen. As a SNES game, chef's kiss. This is definitely like a cult classic and a fan favorite for many Zelda fans. It seems like simple Zelda fashion where like you go into dungeons, solve the puzzles, beat the boss, save the princess at the end. To be fair, I kind of want a simple experience like that. A lot of games can be very, very overstimulating, so I feel like having a game like this will be very satisfying for my needs right now. Again, plus I want to play a piece of history. Like, we live in an era where everyone just talks about Ocarina of Time and Breath of the Wild, specifically those two games. So I really want to like, especially on this channel, like spread some more limelight to the OG games. That's Legend of Zelda. Not Ocarina of Time. Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. Okay, number 9, sticking with the Nintendo trend, I'm gonna throw in a game series that I think a lot of you might drop your jaws. But that's actually Pokemon Black and White. Growing up, I've always been console exclusive when it comes to video game experiences. Don't get me wrong, I had a DS, I had a lot of handheld consoles, but the PSP in general was like my go-to console when it came to portable gaming. The DS not so really. I had a bunch of licensed games mainly. Pokemon not really. I can't lie. I'll never say that I'm a hardcore Pokemon fan / Pokemon gamer. Most of my Pokemon gaming stories and experiences came from the console, like spin-off titles like the Stadium games, the Colosseum games, the adventure titles. The mainline Pokemon games I've barely touched. But growing up watching cartoons on TV, Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, Jetix, Disney XD, Nintendo commercials were very, very prominent, and we got a bunch of Pokemon titles. And I'd always see commercials for, I think it was Gen 5, Gen 4, I can't remember what generation it was. Gen 5, Gen 4, Diamond and Pearl, Black and White, that era of games when it came to Pokemon, the Pokemon timeline. And the aesthetic of Pokemon Black and White always caught my eye. It's basically like, again, it's another take on like a Japanese take, Eastern take on like Western aesthetics and looks. Pokemon Black and White, from what I've seen, is like set in like a New York, Manhattan type of region, which is pretty cool, which I've never seen before in a Pokemon series. The fact that, again, in recent years I've fallen in love with JRPGs. Yeah, I don't know, it's just one of them games that I've always wanted to play. I feel like I'll turn back into like a 10-year-old if I got that game. I think that game came out in 2011, so yeah, I must have been in primary school at the time. So yeah, Pokemon Black and White definitely is a must. No, I have nothing much to say. It just seems like a vibe. I don't know why Nintendo haven't done this yet, because I know they'll make a gold mine if they did this. Square Enix, what I love that they're doing is that they're pretty much remastering their OG like RPG games in like a HD 2D aesthetic. You've seen that with Dragon Quest. You've seen that with Octopath Traveler. And you've seen that with the Final Fantasy pixel remasters as well. I don't know why Nintendo haven't done like a Pokemon pixel remaster with their games. They should just do like a full flipping marathon of all their games from Pokemon Red to Pokemon Blue to Pokemon Yellow, Emerald, Diamond, Black and White, X and Y, and so on. That's my wish list. But again, if I had to pick one, I want Pokemon Black and White, please. And the 10th game of my bucket list of titles that I've yet to play is a game that I've always wanted to play, but I'm annoyed that there hasn't been a single console port. A modern console port is Chronotrigger by Square Enix. I have been wanting to play this game for years. Probably as long as Pokemon Black and White, I can't lie. When you look at it on paper, the creator of Dragon Ball, Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Quest, and the creator of Final Fantasy coming together and making a JRPG for the SNES. And this is the tail end of the SNES, so it's like peak SNES experience. I want to play this so badly. This seems like the perfect game I have yet to play. And again, from what I've seen, people put it up as like the best JRPG ever, the best RPG ever, the best SNES game, the best Square Enix game. When people talk about JRPGs, it's usually, you know, like Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VI. Chrono Trigger's bang in the middle when it comes to discussions in the community. From what I've seen, I could be wrong. I want to play it so badly. I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if I should just pick it up on Steam or get it on DS or whatever. I think it's pretty rare in the UK as well, which sucks. Or wait for like a console port on the Switch or something, or even a HD 2D remaster. Why hasn't that happened, Square Enix? Please, just please. I want to play it so badly. But the aesthetic of this game looks beautiful. The character designs, the art, the concept of time traveling, and the fact that it's a JRPG, it's not even that long. You're time traveling, you're saving the world. It seems like a vibe. I can't really say anything much because I don't know the story. I really don't know the story. But I really want to play this game. Chrono Trigger. So yeah, that was my gaming bucket list. What games have you yet to play? What do you think of the games I have mentioned? Which ones do you recommend out of the 10 if I had to pick one to put as a priority? Let me know down below. And yeah, with that said, I shall see you guys next time. Please like, share, subscribe, and see you in the next video. Peace.